You ever see something so wrong, so gut-wrenching, it just freezes you to the spot and forces you to look twice? Yeah, that's how my morning started, standing there on Birch Lane, sweat still cooling on my skin from a run I barely remember finishing, when I spotted her, a little girl, maybe 8, maybe younger, pink coat zipped up tight, backpack pressed, so close it was like she thought it could save her. She wasn't just waiting for the bus, she was holding herself together, right on the edge, pants soaked, lips barely moving. 5 words, quiet as a breath. Crack me wide open. I don't want to get on. That's all she said. But if you've ever worn a uniform or seen too much for one lifetime, you know a silent plea when you see it. Something was off, so far off, I felt my pulse spike like I was back on patrol, not on some sleepy American street. Now, let me back up a sec. My name's Noah Hart, former Marine, and I'm used to keeping my distance. But this time my feet just moved. I crouched, softened my voice, asked her name. Ellie. She barely whispered it. She didn't even cry. Just stood there so still except for how her hands twisted the straps of her bag, and her eyes kept darting to the fog where the bus would soon appear. And when it did, all rusty headlights and groaning brakes, I saw her flinch like she'd seen a ghost. There was a boy in the back, older, face like a mask, and a bus driver who didn't even blink. Ellie looked at me, not asking for help, not even really looking, just hoping someone would notice. She climbed on anyway. That look she gave before the door closed, I'll never shake it. After that, I couldn't rest. At home, I just sat in my empty apartment, TV mumbling in the background, mind racing. Why does a kid look like that before school? Why the wet pants? Why the terror? You know what I mean? I'd seen that look on recruits in Afghanistan before they broke, before the worst. That night, I started digging school ratings, bus routes, bullying reports, nothing. Too clean, too quiet. The next morning, I changed my routine. Hoodie up, earbuds in, I pretended to run, but really I was watching. Ellie, same as yesterday, tense as a wire. Bus comes, driver waving, kids on, and the boy in black aisle. I'd later learn gives her backpack a nudge, just enough to rattle her, not enough to get caught. She boards without a word. That kind of fear you don't outgrow, it grows roots. I started keeping notes, black jacket, age, bus number, bits of overheard conversation. When the bus left, I stood there thinking, if no one notices today, what about tomorrow? Most people never see what's right in front of them. But once you do, you can't turn away. That night, I watched old videos of school bus bullying cases. It's not always fists, it's whispers, isolation, making someone feel like a ghost. War doesn't only happen far away. Some kids fight every morning just to get through the day. By the 3rd day, I couldn't just stand by. I forged paperwork, walked straight into Elkwood Elementary, introduced myself as Ellie's guardian, lied with a straight face because the truth was that girl needed someone to fight for her. Principal was all smiles and policy, yes, no incidents, no concerns. Our school is safe. Yeah, right. But I noticed a teacher's photo on the wall. Brooke Ainsley, 2nd grade, red hair. I caught up with her at recess. Turns out, Ellie had gotten quiet. Used to talk, used to smile. Not anymore. Brooke said she found angry red scribbles in Ellie's notebook, a footprint on her backpack. She didn't want to guess, but she looked scared too. So I waited by the bus stop at school, watched as the kids poured out. Ellie last as always, called whispering something that made her flinch. No one else noticed. That evening, Brooke found a drawing in Ellie's notebook, a giant, faceless figure and a tiny, curled-up child. Written under it, "If I tell, Mom will have an accident like Dad." That right there, that's what silence looks like. That's what pain sounds like when a child thinks no one will believe her. At home, Rachel, Ellie's mom, was drowning too. She worked late, scraped together dinners, convinced herself it was just the stress of a new school, new life. But she couldn't explain the nightmares, the bedwetting, the hollowed dinners. The signs were everywhere. She just couldn't look directly at them until it was too loud to ignore. Until the morning, Ellie woke screaming, begging not to be made to sit next to him. Next morning, I caught up with Rachel at the bus stop. She noticed me, remembered seeing me watching. I told her straight. Her daughter was terrified, something was wrong on that bus, and if she needed backup, I was here. You ever see relief and terror on someone's face at the same time? She nodded, silent, but awake now. That night, She sat beside Ellie, didn't try to fix her, just stayed. Later, she found a crumpled drawing in Ellie's pocket figures with no faces. "No one believes me," written above. That was the last straw. We went to the school together, walked into the principal's office, not as strangers, but as a Team Ellie's mother and the guy who wouldn't walk away. Principal Linda tried to deflect, but I pressed, pull the security footage from Bus 45. When we watched it, there was Kyle stepping back to block Ellie, taking her bag, kicking her ankle, the driver ignoring everything. You can't talk your way around video. Brooke, the teacher, admitted she'd heard Ellie whisper, "If I speak, Mom will die like Dad." The room went silent, and Rachel crumpled because no one had listened until now. Word spread fast. Kyle's parents showed up, all expensive suits and righteous anger. Sure, their son was perfect. "Kids play rough," they said. "Maybe your girl just can't handle it." The room split, parents siding with power, others just wanting it to go away. I stood up and said what needed saying. A child is hurting. What matters now is, what does she need? Silence fell. For once, everyone listened. Then something shifted. Benji, a small boy in Ellie's class, found the courage to tell his teacher. Kyle threatened Ellie, made her believe her mom would get hurt if she talked. Jasmine, a third grader, admitted Kyle had pushed her too. Truth doesn't stay buried. By the afternoon, Kyle was suspended pending investigation. The Brennans left the school. No more defense left. No more boys will be boys. A weight lifted, but the scars were still there. Ellie started to heal, slowly. She found a new friend, Mia, who gave her a purple paper crane. No shaky hands today. Kyle sent a note, handwritten, apologizing not for forgiveness, but so she'd know he understood now what he'd done. Ellie's hands shook as she read it, but she folded the note, kept it close. "No, yeah, that's me," kept showing up at the bus stop, never needing to say a word. Just being there, a quiet signal that someone was watching, someone cared. Rachel took Ellie to therapy. Ellie drew the shadow that haunted her, but said it stood farther away now. Then came Kindness Week. The school changed. Ellie walked to the stage, white dress, hair braided, not shaking from fear, but from something new, hope. Maybe. I was called up, asked to speak, but I just said, there's another kind of battlefield, one where silence is the enemy. Ellie stood up and hugged me, the kind of hug that fixes something broken. Then she turned to the crowd. "I'm still scared, but now I know being scared doesn't mean I have to stay silent." The applause started slow, then grew, and for once it felt like every adult in that yard finally heard the lesson. Even a kindergartner shouted, "When I grow up, I want to be like him." But this story, it's not about heroes. It's about one child who spoke up and another who learned to face his mistakes. It's about the power of listening, really listening before it's too late. Silent wounds run deep, but all it takes is one person to step forward and say, "I believe you." That changes everything. So let me ask you, what do you think about the silence of the adults in this story? If you saw a child hanging their head a little too long, would you speak up? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever walked through something like this, or are struggling right now, know you're not alone. This is a place for kindness, for hope, for second chances. Are you doing okay today? If you feel like sharing, I'm here, and I'd love to know how your day's going.